Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of our open mic program. And I am so excited, the next guest, because we've been doing this open mic program for years. And it all came that there was somebody shared something with me about you winning a statewide contest for a speech. Shelby Standridge with us right now. And what's really amazing is I shared it with Van Buren County Judge Dale James. At a remote that I was doing, I said, there was something I think was very unique. He says, I'll run it down. Then he sends clips from somewhere. It was a Clinton high school that you spoke to the Clinton faculty. And then our news guy chased this down. I mean, it's amazing how you got to be on open mic. But I thank you so much for taking time and talking with me.
Yes, I'm really excited to be here. I've never got an opportunity like this, so I'm definitely excited.
All right, well, let's talk about first, what was it that you applied your speech to? What was the program?
It was Beta State Convention. So I've always been really, really involved in Beta. It's something we do at our school. We have a lot of students that do it. And it's just really good opportunity to, meet new people, be leadership, stuff like that. So whenever I was deciding what competition I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to do speech. I had been involved in different things like that. Like I'd done FFA in the past. And I knew that I loved talking to people and I loved sharing different things. So I chose a topic to do social media. And I knew that I had struggled with it in my own life, but not only that, but I knew kids around me had struggled with it.
Now, what's some of the struggles you see in social media?
So I definitely see a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because a lot of times kids will, they'll feel like this emptiness inside of them and they won't know what it is. But a lot of the time it is social media and it's the jealousy. It's just, I feel like the main thing is anxiety because it stresses kids out and they don't even realize it most of the time. But not only that, but all these little things in social media can lead to even bigger problems. Like in my speech, I talk about the suicide. I talk about the main depression and how a lot of the things can lead to that.
What's amazing, you told me before we recorded that you did the research, but you stayed off of social media to do the research because they manipulate. The internet is so manipulated, is so controlled by algorithms that nobody can see anything, and then they all kind of drink the same Kool-Aid. Tell me, how could you research without the internet? This is something like, people are like, is there such a thing?
Yes, so I decided to do research at my school, so I set up a little files on my computer, and I asked 100 students, grades 9 through 12. I think I asked 25 in each grade. And I asked them 4 questions. I asked them what they struggled about social media, what their favorite part of it was, what apps they struggled with, and how much time they spent on it. And, the answers were just outrageous. We had some kids that were like, an hour a day. But then we also had some kids that were like 9 hours a day. And it was just insane, all the things I learned, just how the people around you that you don't even know are just increasingly struggling with it. So it was a great opportunity.
When you look at that, when you did the research, did it shock you, some of the numbers that came out?
Yes. My best friend, I got to interview her, and she told me, she's like, I spend 6 hours on social media a day. And I was just amazed by all of it. And it was definitely interesting, to say the least, but it was definitely shocking because, I spent probably 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day on my phone, and I was just like, what? This is crazy, because I thought I was spending too much time on it, but then you realize that there's kids out there that are spending even more time on it. So, especially coming from a small little school, we all know each other, we're all really good friends, so it was definitely cool.
Then you had an opportunity to speak in front of the faculty.
Yes, so whenever I got to talk to the faculty, I had already talked to the high school teachers. So I had done that during the school year, but then during the summertime, my superintendent had asked me to speak in front of everybody. So at first I was a little nervous because I hadn't said it in a couple months, but I was like, this is a great opportunity because not only am I talking about the students, but I'm talking about these people's kids, because a lot of our teachers have their own kids in Clinton schools. So whenever I shared it about them, I had one of my friends tell me that, their mom came home and they were like, hey, how was your social media life? Because all these moms went home and they're asking all their kids about if they struggle with social media, because I was a student that, a lot of people probably didn't think I struggled with it, probably thought that I was doing great, and I wasn't. It was just really cool just to know that I did impact teachers, not only with the students, but with their own kids.
So what would you say to a student or a parent? What's the first step to get control of your social media?
I would say for parents, limiting your kids' time on social media, that's a big thing. But not only that, the apps that they have, because a lot of people, like the apps that I deleted was Snapchat and TikTok. TikTok is the most addictive app in the world, and Snapchat's the third most used app in the world. And just being involved with everything in my own life, I got to witness to myself, and I had parents around me that were just saying, hey, I think you're struggling with this. So I would just say being accountability for your kids But with students, I would just say that realizing it and recognizing it in yourself, like, because I had realized that I needed to delete it, but I would just say that that's a big part of it. Like, once you delete it, you have to stay deleted off of it. Because whenever I deleted TikTok, I had 4 other girls that deleted it with me, and they all downloaded it back. So just having that commitment to stay with it and stay off of it.
It keeps the attention span very small. There's some marketing meetings I do statewide, and I'm the one that stated it's like people have an attention span of a gnat. And that's why the attention span, because the way it's designed, TikTok is just little burst of this. You're not seeing the whole person. You're just seeing whatever it is. And then it's molding you because, everybody's doing it, but probably not. And some of it is just AI. I have been fooled. I have seen where these big celebrities are coming out and says, that's not us talking. And people are believing it. So they're taking whatever they're trying to sell, whatever it is, morally or whatever, and they're using these big names, and it's really not them doing it. It's just an AI image. It's a video that's really not them. So that's even scary.
Yes. So whenever I did my research, I had a huge range whenever I asked, like, what's your least favorite part of social media? So many people said, like, how distracting it is. And just like having phones in school, like being distracted, that can lead to so many problems. But not only that, but like your schoolwork, whenever you go home and you tell your teacher, I didn't have time for the homework. But I mean, you did. You were just spending all your time on your phone and being very, very distracted by that. So I would just say, the being distracted, that's just a huge part of social media.
I've shared that with someone about the Governor Sarah Sanders shared, they call it her bill of putting the phones up, which it seems like, to me, it's common sense. I've been that way when phones were flip phones. I'd say, okay, kids, we're sitting down at the table and we eat. I'm the old-fashioned guy. I don't like eating TV dinners. I just never have. I just felt like, one thing, I'm messy. I makes a mess. But the other thing is distracting. And I thought, what do you mean they have phones in school? And some teachers says, and quietly, because it's one of those things that it's political, he said, this is the greatest thing that's ever been done. So that's something the governor has done. You think it will help the students putting the phones away?
Yes. As a student, I think it is really great because, whenever, even like when you're at lunch and like everyone's on their phones, I just feel like, this is a way that we can all like really talk to each other and communicate with one another. But especially like whenever you have free time, students would just like get out their phones, which I had a couple classes where you did put your phone up. So, you couldn't get on it. But I mean, there were some that you were on your phone a lot of the time. I think that this is going to be really good for all the schools. I think it's really going to help students with their schoolwork, cheating, stuff like that.
What's the one thing takeaway that you'd want to share with the kids today about social media?
I would just say recognizing it in your own life. Just like from my story, I've grown up, I'm a straight A student, I'm really involved in so many things, but I knew that there was something wrong in my life, and it was social media. So if you feel like that you're struggling with something and you haven't thought about social media, I would say that definitely take a look into that with yourself and just make it aware and put limits on yourself.
Well, we've been talking with the beta superstar is what I think it is. Shelby, thank you so much for taking time and talking with us. We will have this online as well. I'll make sure ArkansasRadio.com shares this because this is the story that I think we're uncovering a mask that's pretty scary, really. But I think as a community of Arkansas, from the governor all the way down to the teachers and the students, we're going to get through this.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us here in Open Mic. Clinton High School incoming junior Shelby Standridge. Shelby, I'd like for you to share your award-winning Arkansas Beta State Championship speech right now, right here on all of our stations on ArkansasRadio.com.
Bzz, bzz, bzz. Do you know what that sound is? That is the sound of notifications going off constantly. In 2024, 66% of teenagers who struggled with anxiety and depression said social media was the cause. People often don't realize how much social media is evolving and growing, especially teenagers because of their vulnerability. As a 16-year-old girl, I know how addicting, draining, and jealous it can make you. I chose to talk to you about social media because it is a problem that is often overlooked and not taken seriously. In 1997, the first social media, 6 Degrees, was created. It seemed like a fun and easy way to have conversations and connect with friends, and 3.5 million people would use that app. Little did we know, one social media platform would lead to hundreds, and 3.5 million people would lead to over 5 billion. As you know, anytime you research something, you can get any answer you want because there's so many opinions in the world. So I decided to do my own research to know how students at my school
handle social media. After surveying 100 students, grades 9 through 12, 64% admitted they struggle with social media, and 84% most used app was social media. When asked what their least favorite part of it was, students said how distracting it is. Being distracted can lead to students not getting their schoolwork done. This is the last thing that needs to be happening to a young adult because this is when their brain is developing the most. Other things teens didn't like about social media was the drama, rumors, feeling left out, and bullying. All of these can lead to anxiety, depression, changes in sleep patterns, and even suicide. So struggling isn't just a small problem. It's a big problem that can lead to even bigger consequences. The funny thing was when I asked students what their favorite part of social media was, 53% said communicating with their friends. Did you know you can actually communicate with your friends without apps like Snapchat? It's called in person. Social media is actually ranked 6th in the world for the most addictive thing, right under 5th, gambling, and 4th, alcohol. In July of 2024, I decided to take a break from TikTok, the most addictive app known to man, and Snapchat, the 3rd most used app in the world. It's now August of 2025, and I can proudly say I have never made a better decision, not only for my mental health, but the relationships around me. In conclusion, I believe the biggest impact on a teen's mental health is their social media lifestyle. So please, if you have children or teenagers, make a difference for the better in their lives. Help them to limit their time on social media and even limit certain apps they may have. Because even though they might think having strict parents isn't cool, it's also not cool to be addicted to social media.
That's the award-winning Arkansas Beta State Championship speech, and it was by Clinton High School incoming junior Shelby Standridge. Thanks so much for joining us here on Open Mic on ArkansasRadio.com radio stations.